Hey, what up, crew? I'm Cancer Kenny, and today we're going to be discussing a conspiracy lost from over a decade ago, going over a career that spans over 20 years. So grab your popcorn, get your tinfoil hats, because you never know if the government's watching, and let's get into it. But before we do, I got to tell you something. Come close. Okay, I'll get close because you can't move. Thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be discussing Eminem and his battle to redeem his soul. Before we do that, I'm going to give you a little bit of background of his early life, and then we'll go into his career and the things that he had to battle throughout that. Marshall Bruce Mathers III was born on October 17th, 1972 in St. Joseph, Missouri, to Debbie Nelson and Marshall Mathers Jr. Marshall's father would eventually go to get milk and never come back when Marshall was only a year and a half old. After that, Marshall and his mother would move around vigorously throughout Missouri until they would settle in Detroit, Michigan. Now, Marshall was only 12 when they had moved to Detroit, Michigan, and he would be bullied and alienated due to him being white in a predominantly black neighborhood. Marshall would discover his love for rap at the age of 14 and would create the name Eminem. Him and his friend Proof would rap at the lunchroom tables of his high school. These freestyles would eventually upgrade from lunchrooms to open mics at local hip-hop shops. This love would become a passion, and Marshall would eventually release his first album, Infinite, in the year 1996. Infinite was panned by critics. They said Eminem was trying too hard to sound like Nas. As a result from this, Eminem would come up with the alter ego, Slim Shady, and would release his Slim Shady EP in 1997. It was a large departure from what Marshall had made a year prior, where it was much more lighthearted. However, critics seemed to love the large tone shift and was praised for his wordplay and edgy lyrics. The Slim Shady EP would cover numerous dark topics as well as self-harm, murder, and stealing. This would eventually get the attention of Dr. Dre, and he would sign Eminem to Interscope Records. Now this is where the conspiracy comes in. In the first track, we are introduced to a voice that Eminem sounds very scared of. In the conspiracy, it would claim that this demon's name was Rayman, and Rayman is an entity that has been seen throughout all of Hollywood. Examples of that being seen in Michael Jackson, Rihanna, and numerous other artists. The Slim Shady LP was a large success for Eminem's career. It would borrow tracks like 97 Bonnie and Clyde and Just Don't Give an F. Off the heels of Marshall's prior success, he would release the Marshall Mathers LP in the year 2000. The Marshall Mathers LP would cover even darker subject matter, such as the tracks Kill You and Kim. The subjects covered would involve incest, murder, and rape. However, the album also went in deeper into Marshall's psyche, such as the tracks The Way I Am and Marshall Mathers. Critics loved it, and fans loved it even more. The Marshall Mathers LP and the Slim Shady LP would explode Marshall's career to stardom, and he would later star in the hit film 8 Mile. 8 Mile was seen as a loose biography of Marshall's early life. The Eminem Show was considered a masterpiece, and with 3 hits in a row, Eminem could do no wrong. Even at the height of Marshall's stardom, there were cracks in his armor. Marshall would show regret and depression in the tracks Say Goodbye to Hollywood. In the lyrics Say Goodbye to Hollywood, it would go, I sold my soul to the devil, I'll never get it back. If I could go back, I never would have rapped. These lyrics showing his clear regret for the decision that he had made. However, with no choice but to look forward, Eminem would eventually release Encore in 2004. Encore was panned by critics. A lot of people hated this. A lot of the tracks sounded like he was high and he was just gibbering throughout all of them. There was something more going on in the background, and Marshall was getting hit by an intense depression. In this conspiracy theory that came out over a decade ago, they would claim that Eminem knew they were going to take Proof in the music video Like Toy Soldiers, where it shows Proof bleeding out on the table. After Encore bombing, Eminem would go into an intense depression, go through a divorce, and even lose his friend in his 5-year hiatus until Relapse. Relapse would be the height of the possession and the satanic imagery. In the track 3 AM, which is a reference to the witching hour, you can hear the beast number in the background of the music, as well as a lot of imagery used in the music video. Throughout the album, you can see Eminem's depression running through, especially in tracks like Beautiful and Be Careful What You Wish For. In the bonus track, My Darling, Eminem can be heard having a conversation with the demon that we get introduced to from Slim Shady EP. In this fan theory, this demon is the Rain Man. The Rain Man is seen throughout the music industry, and apparently it's taken over Eminem's life. The album Relapse was seen as a mixed bag by critics and fans alike. A lot of people praised it for its horrorcore and different subject matter, as well as its unique way of storytelling. In Marshall's personal life, he was dealing with drug addiction. He was an addict to sleeping pills, as well as in the conspiracy theory, he was dealing with the weight of his decisions. Marshall would come out with the album Recovery a year later, and this would be a large departure from his last album. The album would have a much lighter tone, as well as a new, unique style mixed with rock infused with rap. And in this theory, Recovery was Marshall breaking away from the cult and the selling of his soul. In the theory, Not Afraid was Marshall breaking free from the cult, as well as his drug addiction. In the music video, when he looks in mirrors, he sees demons. This is referencing the Rain Man demon that he was dealing with his entire career. He was no longer going to be consumed by the weight of his decisions and was going to move on despite the losses that he had attained. So yeah, that's the basic timeline for this theory. I think one thing I forgot to mention is that throughout the music videos, I think the conspiracy theory implies that Marshall knew they were going to take proof. And I think the problem with these conspiracy theories is that there's no way of proving them correct. So let's say like this is true, then how would we prove it? As well, if this isn't true, it's very hurtful to imply that Marshall knew his friend was going to die and he did nothing just for his success. I personally really like this conspiracy theory as far as the Rain Man demon, because in the video it showed like multiple examples of where the Rain Man would come up in the music industry, such as like Rihanna music videos where like you can see her like contort her back or something and it makes like a demon, or like Beyonce's like concerts, as well as Michael Jackson fighting back, because like apparently he had a dispute with Sony, but a lot of conspiracy theory people saw it as him going against the satanic occult. Now I'm unable to find the video anymore, so I don't know if YouTube took it down or maybe Marshall's like company or whoever he's with took it down, because if this isn't true, it's very hurtful to imply that he was a part of Proof's death. And yeah, he would rightfully be able to take it down just because of that. I would give this theory a 5 out of 5 just for nostalgia's sake, because I remember bundling up with my homies when we were like 11 or 12 and being like scared and being like, oh man, this is creepy. And then we'd be like, yeah, Eminem's the best. He's fighting against the Illuminati. Even if it's stupid, I just remember good times. So yeah, very enjoyable. I like the Rain Man, but I'm pretty sure the demon that we see throughout Marshall's career in his music industry is supposed to symbolize Slim Shady. Especially in the Slim Shady EP with the intro track, where he comes in as terrified. I would believe that that's the entity of Slim Shady, his alter ego, and that's why the album covers much darker subject matter. As well as the bonus track My Darling, that was one of Marshall's last tracks, I believe, as Slim Shady, just because he was starting to outgrow the alter ego. Even though you can, the alter ego Slim Shady can be seen in the Marshall Mathers LP2 in Evil Twin, as well as Marshall's most panned album ever, so yeah. So this theory only went up to Recovery, so let me know if you'd like me to create my own timeline of what happens after Recovery. And yeah, I could cover other conspiracy theories as well as Michael Jackson's fight with Sony, or the Rain Man throughout the industry, or anything else you would like me to cover. As always, thank you for watching, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.